And now to matters concerning the economy. The Central Bank of Nigeria has risen from the first Monetary Policy Committee meeting for 2020. It held the MPR and other parameters constant while raising the cash reserve ratio CRR from 22.5% to 27.5%. It retained MPR at 13.5% asymmetric corridor at plus 200 / minus 500 basis points, while liquidity ratio also retained at 30%.
The committee felt that there would be a lot of liquidity in the market and there was a need for the bank to do something to mop the excess liquidity to a level that it considers optimal to be able to run the economy in a way that a level of excess liquidity does not become injurious to the economy. That is the reason the committee felt, look, let's adopt the blunt process of taking this liquidity out by increasing the CRR from 22.5% to 27.5%.
We now go to matters concerning education. International Day of Education is an annual global event to highlight the role of education for peace and development. Abdullahi Musa Suleja takes a look at the sector in Nigeria as the world calls for attention to the importance of education.
The right to education is enshrined in Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which calls for free and compulsory elementary education. The United Nations, which proclaims 24th January as International Day of Education, strongly believes that without inclusive, equitable, quality education and lifelong opportunities for all, countries will not succeed in achieving gender equality and break the cycle of poverty that's leaving millions of children, youth, and adults behind. One fundamental factor that threatened the right for all is the 2017 UNICEF report that indicated 500 attacks were carried out in schools in 20 countries worldwide. In 15 out of the 20 countries, troops and forces recruited and commandeered children into fighting forces and made them bombers, in addition to making the learning environment unsafe. As gloomy as the picture is painted, a number of countries have come up with forward-looking education policies that have contributed to the attainment of Goal 4 of the SDGs, which is on education. This may have informed the choice of this year's theme, Learning for People, Planet, Prosperity and Peace. In Nigeria, government has embarked on a series of programs aimed at addressing the out-of-school children syndrome, increased carrying capacity, inclusive education, accessibility, and quality.
Education is not where you put the burden on one person. It's an area where everybody works together. Everybody plays its role. The society plays its role. Everybody. And until we do that in our nation, we will regret it. We're in the 21st century, this electronic age, where young people have enormous opportunity to learn, to create, to innovate, to change the world.
In reference to this year's theme, Nigerian government says it will ensure a conducive learning environment in schools.
But I think the government is doing well by starting at least with the access. And there is a correlation between poverty and poor quality of education.
We do get assistance from the Federal Ministry of Education. The ministry supplies equipment and also started this security infrastructure in schools.
Good as the efforts look, an organization, Global Coalition for Business, posits that by 2030, there will be 1.5 billion school-age children in low and middle-income countries. Hence, the need for all to step up effort to ensure that children of school age receive necessary and quality education. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdullahi, for that report. We now join Mohammed Rabiu Ali in Kano. Mohammed, if you can hear me, tell us, what is the ambience like in Kano as you celebrate the World Education Day? What's the ambience like?
Well, the atmosphere here in Kano is apt, considering the level of awareness by the state government and UNICEF for education for all. And this time around, the 2020 International Day of Education has a theme, learning for people, planet, prosperity and peace.
Yes.
So the UNICEF is celebrating this day in two states of Kano and Borno, considering the level of commitment to improving the education system in these two states. And more than 10 schools were, partake in this celebration together with UNICEF. So the atmosphere is very apt, and people celebrated the day in a grand style.
Okay, thank you for talking on the state's intention to achieve this year's theme, which is learning for the people, the planet, prosperity and peace. Now tell us, was there any significant pronouncement or declaration in improving education in the state?
Well, the partnership between the Kano state government and UNICEF exists long before now, and the achievements so far recorded in terms of education is something to talk about, where there is huge commitment by UNICEF to improve the education system in Kano. As of 2019, more than 400 million naira has expended in terms of enhancement of teachers, SBMC, Mothers Association, IQA facilitators, and what have you. If you look at the rate of out-of-school children in Kano, where take the highest number of more than 1 million children out of school. So UNICEF is committing to assist the Kano state government in this direction.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Now I want you to say something about the girl child. It will not be complete without mentioning the girl child. Any mention in this direction concerning the girl child as you celebrate this day?
You come again?
I'm talking about the girl child education. Was there any mention in this area concerning the girl child education?
All right. The issue of girl child education is also paramount to the state government, where they have given a priority, to take out of school children, especially girls in the state. And this is by the assistance of UNICEF and other stakeholders. Now the girl child education is, has a kind of high percentage in terms of, enrolling them in school, unlike the previous years where the girl child education is less. So there is commitment by the Kano state government, in this direction.
That's nice to know. Thank you, Mohammed, reporting or talking to us from Kano on the Education Day, being celebrated there in the state. It's now time to take our first break. We have more reports when we return. Do stay.
This year, the weather conditions Harmattan in Nigeria is harsh, with temperature dropping very low in some parts of the country. Many underprivileged children are exposed to these harsh weather conditions, putting them at risk to all sorts of respiratory infections with devastating consequences. We request well-meaning Nigerians to kindly donate warm clothing, blankets, beverages, soap, moisturizers, and other essential items for the benefit of these children. Get involved to support displaced and underprivileged children exposed to these harsh weather conditions. Powered by Aisha Buhari Foundation.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down.
Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or even end up in prison.
Lassa fever occurs when a person gets bitten by a rat carrying the Lassa virus. It is also contacted through the consumption of foods that have been contaminated by either the saliva, urine, or excreta of the rats. Lassa fever is deadly, so protect yourself and loved ones from it. Keep rats away from your homes. Ensure that leftover foods are properly covered at night and heat up properly before consumption. Wash fruits properly before you eat. Maintain regular hand wash with soap and water, as well as environmental sanitation. Report all feverish conditions and bleeding from the nose or mouth to the health facility nearest to you, and don't indulge in self-medication. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with the NTA. We're not done with education yet. We now join Mohammed Ibrahim live in Maiduguri to tell us more on activities marking the day. Hello, Mohammed. We talked to you much earlier. Now, what is new from what you have so far there from your state?
Well, what we say is new from the series of events, week-long, that marked the International Day of Education 2020 by UN agency UNICEF, was art exhibition training of young Nigerians, students, on their interests, talents to build their confidence. And during the art exhibition, a take-home message that really came out of that exhibition was a declaration and more commitment by government and development partners to do more in the area of providing humanitarian aid and interventions in form of education to less privileged children, the girl child, IDP children. And most outstanding was that by the Plan International, which said it is going to roll out programs that will touch the lives of young Nigerians, less privileged children, in 9 local government areas, which are in Maiduguri State Capital, Jere, Monguno, Goza, of course Magumeri, including Mafa, Biu, Damboa, and Kondoga. And these projects will be funded by the European Union. The projects will touch the areas of classroom renovation, targeting 122, among others.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Now I'd like to ask you, what would you say is the response of children's school enrollment so far?
Though I would not give a definite statistics on that, but there are a lot of programs brought about by partnership between the state government and the development partners. that is improvement in terms of school enrollment. There's one called the Basic Education Service Delivery for All, which is going into the nooks and crannies to look out for unaccompanied children, orphans, separated children in IDP camps, in Sangaya schools that will be enrolled in school. It has been ongoing since the beginning of this academic year.
Many thanks, Mohammed. Thank you for educating us. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. We've been talking to Mohammed from Maiduguri. We're still not done with education. We have an education consultant, Dr. Ibrahim Doba, and he's going to talk more on education. Thank you for coming on Nationwide.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the theme, we already know what the theme is. That's learning for people, the planet, prosperity, and peace. Now, tell us, how relevant is this theme at this time?
Well, this time, that theme is more relevant than any other time. Because if we look at education, it's only education that can save the world, that can save the family unit, a nation, and even the individual. For example, if you want to develop a nation, you need productivity. And to get productivity, you need three things. Human capital, defined as education and health. Then you need technology. Then you need ideas. At a point, if you have the human capital, you can rise only to a certain level.
Okay.
Then if you have technology, that will help you to achieve more. But at a point, that technology will not go far until you have ideas to be able to develop. All these three ingredients, you need knowledge for it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, how can you use education now to empower people towards realizing national integration?
Well, they say it's easier to govern people who are educated. In our country, if you look at the families internationally, education is correlated with income. So the more of education you have, the more years of education, or the higher you go in education, the higher your income. This is a fact internationally. So if we can get our people to enroll in school, from the elementary level, which is a universal human right, because Article 26 of the United Nations Universal Human Rights Declaration says 89, they also said all nations must provide access to higher education. So once we are able to educate our people, they will be automatically empowered, because there is that direct relationship between empowerment or income and education.
Okay. Yes, like you say, education is very important. In fact, it cannot be overemphasized. But it is a huge investment. Should it be left to government alone?
Well, I have two answers here. No, don't leave it to government, because if you leave it to government, the government may not be able to do it. Not because they are not interested in doing it, but they don't have the wherewithal or the resources to cater for everyone. So we must take individual responsibility to educate ourselves and our children. And in this time, in this day and age, it is the easiest time for you to get educated. Okay. Anywhere you go online, you see even the best universities in the world make available resources.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Now, finally, what are we expecting as the focus of Nigeria towards achieving equitable access to education for all?
I think what we should expect should be enforcement, because we already have all the basic structures to be able to build upon to launch our education. For example, we have this UBEC, Universal Basic Education, and we have SUBEB in all the states. The problem is some states do not contribute their own part of the fund to the federal government, so that the federal government will release money to them. I remember my state, at a point for 3 years, they didn't pay their own counterpart until another administration came and they paid for those 3 years. So if we are able to enforce this, because right now the federal government doesn't do anything. If a state doesn't pay, the federal government will just look at the state without doing anything. But if we find a way to enforce these structures or these laws or these policies we already have, I think we'll go a long way in achieving whatever we want to achieve in education.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim Doba, for sharing your thoughts on Nationwide. We're grateful.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Dr. Ibrahim Doba, an education consultant. We're not done yet with the International Day for Education as we join Hingino in Lagos, who has more on this and other stories. Hello, Hingino.
Thank you, Lydia, for joining us in Lagos. Learning for people, planet, prosperity and peace is this year's theme for International Day of Education. The theme reaffirms education as a fundamental right, public good, and accelerates the attainment of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In this report, our correspondent looks at how this global event can strengthen education in Nigeria. Imagine a world without education. The implication is that everything will be chaotic. So, it is obvious that the role of education cannot be overemphasized.
Education should be given to everybody. Funding is very, very important.
Despite its importance, statistics by UNICEF reveals that 1 in every 5 out-of-school children in the world is in Nigeria, bringing the figure to about 10.5 million. To capture all that are out of school and avoid adding to the number, the United Nations adopted Nigeria's resolution to proclaim January 24 as International Day of Education.
The essence is to remind parents generally the importance of education.
Cheta Ume and Favor Chigbo are lucky not to be part of the 10.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria.
Children should have the opportunity to be able to go to school.
Despite challenges, Nigeria has made progress in the sector over the years, which include the establishment of more universities, computerization of JAMB, unbundling of mass communication, and proper regulation of practitioners in the teaching profession.
Our teachers are already in the process of computerization.
As this global campaign continues annually, it is expected that illiteracy will be reduced to the barest minimum if it cannot be totally wiped out. Talking infrastructure now. For the second time this week, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, inspected work on the Lagos-Ibadan rail project, where he disclosed that the delay of materials at the ports due to lack of berthing space have now been resolved. Dotun Oguyemi reports.
In the last couple of months, the focus of construction along the Lagos-Ibadan railway project has shifted to the Lagos corridor. Despite challenges of relocating gas, oil and water pipelines and settling issues of right-of-way, there has been tremendous efforts put into completion of the project. However, additional works such as remodeling of train stations, construction of 9 flyovers, equipping the rail lines with anti-theft devices, as well as linking the ports have extended the project deadline.
The original time for the contract to have expired is April. Right? In fact, May, not April. Now, they made an argument which you can't also fault. The argument they made is that, listen, additional works. Each additional work we gave them is 6 months. So if you add the 6 months to the time, you are talking about next year. You get the point. So instead of looking at law, look more of practicality and compare them to speed up.
It was also disclosed that in the next 1 week, ships carrying coaches meant to ply the rail line would be delivered.
When we had a meeting with the MPA and the minister spoke to the MD, MPA, he has come up with a drastic solution to ensure they get the material for construction, and we are able to get that.
The minister hopes that by February 20, which will be his next visit, work would have advanced as the contractor has promised to improve on its pace. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
proactive measures put in place by the federal government to curb illegal export of hard drugs through international airports led to a huge decline of 92.97% in 2019. Commander National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Garba Amadou, revealed that a total of 101 suspects were arrested. Abolade Salami reports.
Federal government zero tolerance to the use, sale, abuse and export of illicit substances by Nigerians has resulted in more fortification of NDLEA with needed equipment and manpower to execute their thugs in line with international best practice. The nation's airport, with an upgrade in facilities and a renewed commitment by the officials of the agency to carry out their work diligently, now makes it impossible for any unlawful substance to pass through the airport.
They are trying to upgrade some of the facilities in the old terminal to alleviate some of the challenges we have. To that extent, that is a good start for us. Added to that, my officers are given capacity. They have undergone a lot of trainings.
The installation of scanner machines and round-the-clock surveillance carried out by officials of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Murtala Mohammed International Airport Command, aided the seizure of hard drugs weighing over 379 kilograms in 2019, with cannabis sativa accounting for 44.71%, while cocaine accounted for 9.03%.
About 80% of the seizures were done, the mode of concealment was through either baggage parking or luggage parking at the airport, which actually is serious.
The commander expressed the zeal of officers and men of the command not to compromise in its duty of curtailing the illegal acts, with the aim to continually deploy strategies at arresting culprits. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
That's it from here. It's now back to Lydia in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Many thanks, Hingino. We now take a bit of politics. Movement will not be restricted in affected areas where the rerun elections will hold tomorrow, Saturday, 25th of January. Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman Rotimi Oyekomi stated this in an interview with correspondent Mia Ogidi in Abuja.
We are having elections in 11 states and 28 constituencies, and we are quite prepared. We have trained our ad hoc staff. We have deployed sensitive and non-sensitive materials. We have made adequate arrangement with security agencies. The rules are the same for elections. You must have your permanent voter's card to be able to vote. Nobody is allowed to go into the voting cubicle with smartphones or photographic material equipment. The result sheets after the elections, after counting and collation, will be pasted at the polling unit level. So the observers will have the opportunity of seeing the result polling unit by polling unit. No restriction of movement as such, because it's not a governorship election, it's not a presidential election. However, we expect people to respect the perimeter of the polling unit area.
We now join Abubakar in Maiduguri for more reports on Nationwide. Abubakar?
Good afternoon, Lydia, and thanks for joining us here in Maiduguri. Borno State government says there is no cause for alarm, with efforts put in place to contain confirmed case of Lassa fever that has killed one person with 3 other cases under investigation. Commissioner of Health Dr. Saliu Kwayabura disclosed this at a briefing on the medical situation and containment efforts. Pauline Kujivana reports.
The discovery of the new case of Lassa fever was made at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, where one patient died receiving treatment. Lassa fever, a viral disease caused by a rat, was first discovered in 1969 in Lassa town of Askira Uba local government of Borno State. Since then, no case was recorded in Borno until now. Because of the contagious nature of Lassa fever, The patients were quarantined with measures taken to ensure there was no spread of the disease. This is the gateway to the Accident and Emergency Unit of UMTH, where the confirmed Lassa fever patients died, now temporarily shut down for fumigation and to be put to use after 3 days. Commissioner of Health, Dr. Salisu Kwayebra, revealed that there are 3 cases currently under investigation being managed in the Rapid Response Facility, with one of them a health worker.
We are also intensifying efforts to see if we have similar cases in the areas he has visited. I wish to call for calm amongst the general public.
While urging the public to improve sanitary conditions, the Health Commissioner equally called on them to report any symptoms of fever, headache, and bleeding to the displayed emergency numbers for quick response. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
Network of civil society organizations in Borno State has called on the federal government to sustain the multinational approach to counter-insurgency operations to stem the recent wave of attacks on Damaturu-Maiduguri Highway. Mohammed Ibrahim reports.
We apologize for that challenge. We hope to rejoin them if that is possible. We now want to go live to Lagos and join Jennifer as she tells us about federal government's readiness towards protecting the country against the spread of biodiseases, virus, and weapons. Jennifer, if you can hear me, what is the situation report at the airport in Lagos?
Airport health officials at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and other officials here are already on red alert. Now they already have a thermal camera that scans inbound passengers. Before we came outside here, we watched procedures there, and we noticed that what happens is that when the passengers walk right through the arrival door, them and I discussed with the officials to find out how they'll know if one of the passengers, for instance, is infected. And they said that from the thermal camera and monitor, the temperature will, if there's a passenger with high temperature, there will be a beep, and they will pull that passenger aside for further investigation.
Okay, now Jennifer, is this causing any kind of panic amongst travelers and members of the public?
Absolutely not, because I interacted with some passengers and I tried to find out what they know about the virus and if they have any fear at all, especially at the airport. And they said no, because most of them believe that there should be facilities at the airport for screening, and coming in and seeing the thermal camera there already is giving them some passengers.
We apologize for the break in that report from Jennifer, coming live from Lagos. Now, to talk more on this, the federal government is strengthening the country's biosecurity network to further protect the country against the spread of biodiseases, virus, and weapons. The National Biosafety Management Agency is coordinating the move in collaboration with the relevant security agencies, including Customs and Immigration. The Director General of the agency, Rufus Ibegba, says, with the cases of virus infection around the globe, Nigeria needs to be on alert. The Imo State Police Commissioner Bolaji Fafo-Wora says adequate security arrangements have been made for the rerun election holding in some parts of the state come Saturday, January 25th. He disclosed this while briefing newsmen at the State Police Headquarters, Owerri. Beatrice Anyam completes the report.
The Commissioner of Police, Imo State Command, Bolaji Fafo-Wora, said the command has adequate manpower to ensure a violent-free rerun election in Imo State come Saturday. He noted that they are partnering with sister agencies to provide security in the areas the rerun election will take place.
We are all prepared for the election. It's not going to be conducted by police alone. It's going to involve the other sister agencies, the military, the SSS, the civil defense, even other paramilitaries such as the road safety, because they have to take care of traffic. The fire service, they are also going to be involved. The custom, NDLA, we're all together.
The police commissioner therefore called on the politicians and their supporters to avoid all forms of electoral malpractices and offences, as anyone caught will be made to face the wrath of the law. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
Time to join Dibabari Sedoma Nweke in Port Harcourt for more on Nationwide. Hello, Dibabari. It's your turn.
Welcome to Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Air Force has reiterated its commitment to the fight against insurgency and regular reactivation of 8 aircrafts to meet the operational demands of the force. Air Officer Commanding Tactical Air Command, Makodi, Air Vice Marshal Olusegun Philip gave the assurance while inspecting the ongoing aircraft reactivation process in Port Harcourt. Robin Sinderataide has the details.
It was the main visit of AVM Olusegun Philip to 115 Special Operations Group Port Harcourt as part of the units under the Tactical Air Command. He was accompanied by the Chief of Aircraft Engineering, AVM Musbawo Latunji, to ascertain the level of reactivation of aircrafts in Port Harcourt. The 115 Special Operations Group is one of the units where warplanes are serviced and reactivated for optimal operation. AVM Philip contends that the Nigerian Air Force is ready to combat insurgency with renewed vigor and commitment, stressing that the reactivated aircraft will enhance the operations of the force in 2020.
This unit holds significant platforms that we use in this country to fight insurgency, and we have come here with the Chief of Aircraft Engineering to check the stability status and the work that is ongoing on most of the machines.
It will be recalled that the Nigerian Air Force did a major shake-up recently, which led to the redeployment of some of its commanders and operational heads. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
And finally, from Akwa Ibom State, INEC officials and security chiefs have received and inspected materials for rerun election scheduled to hold on Saturday, 25th January 2020 in Essien Udim local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Kelvin Sama reports that after confirmation, all materials have been dispatched to coalition centers in Essien Udim local government area.
Shortly after inspection of all the rerun election materials, party representatives expressed satisfaction with the level of preparation by the INEC and the security agencies.
I'm impressed by what I'm seeing at this moment.
At the documentary and verification, I am okay. I'm fine. My party is okay.
The inspection, to me, was properly done. So I, on behalf of my party, we are very satisfied.
The INEC and State Police Commissioner, who also confirmed the materials complete and in good shape, called on the people to cooperate with INEC officials and security agents during the election to ensure a history outing, while assuring that level playing ground will be made available for all the contestants irrespective of party affiliation.
But what happened that led to the nullification of the election that affected the Northwest, the federal constituency, and the state constituency? As a people, we should be seen to be learning from the past mistake.
I want to appeal that troublemakers should stay clear of SNUDIN. We intend to deliver free, fair, safe, and of course acceptable elections.
The materials were thereafter handed over to the INEC, who in turn dispatched them to various collation centers where they will be kept safe and secured until Saturday the 25th day of January, which is slated for the rerun election. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. It's back to Lydia for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Reports just reaching us say President Muhammadu Buhari was at the National Mosque this Friday to witness the wedding fatiha of his niece Hadiza Lawal and Mohammed Tukur Inuwa. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the well-attended ceremony was presided over by the Mushrid of the mosque, Professor Shehu Galadanchi. In line with Islamic injunctions, the offer and acceptance agreement by representatives of the bride and the groom was sealed upon the payment of 50,000 naira dowry. Apart from President Muhammadu Buhari and other family members of the couple, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola of Osun State, ministers, and other senior government officials witnessed the historic event.
It is true the president has not made the habit of praying the Juma at the National Mosque for some time, principally because he has avoided, causing difficulties for traffic movement in the city center. So, but today is an account of the marriage of the daughter of his sister, that is his niece, Hajia Hadiza, who has been today married off to Mohammed Tukur Ibrahim. The president's advice to them is they should be patient with one another, that they be peaceful, that they should cherish one another, and that they should be tolerant and peaceful in their union.
President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier joined the Muslim Ummah to observe the congregational Jumat prayers at the mosque. Religious leaders are strategizing on best ways to complement government's efforts in combating insecurity. This is in the quest to win the war against insurgency, ethnic and religious conflicts in the country. Elizabeth Omori has more.
The fight against insecurity has been recording successes, especially with efforts of the armed forces. These religious leaders want to complement to achieve more successes to tackle issues of insurgency, kidnapping, robbery, ethnic clashes, and other crimes that negate the nation's ethical values and cohesion. A resolve of an interfaith dialogue in Abuja. In a communique issued by members of the Interfaith Dialogue for Peace to strengthen the culture of justice, reconciliation, and peace in Nigeria, strongly believe Nigeria's unity is sacrosanct in advancing development.
Government-relevant agencies should carry out research on hotspots like Kaduna and Plateau states to establish root causes of conflict and come up with strategies to address them.
They also want custodians of morals to inculcate right ideals in the young ones.
There should be a regular joint interfaith advocacy team to meet state actors, religious and traditional leaders,
to sustain and unity. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Zule Mohammed is next to lead us with reports from Kaduna. Zule, you're on.
Good evening and welcome to Kaduna. Nigerian Army has deployed another batch of 185 troops to consolidate the United Nations peace support operations in Guinea-Bissau. Suleiman Abdullahi Rugachukun reports.
Economic Community of West African States Mission in Guinea-Bissau, ECOMIG, was born out of the need to have a strong deterrent, dissuading any military intervention in the Francophone West African country after the restoration of constitutional order to assist leaders consolidate their authority and address security challenges. The 185 soldiers of Nigerian Company 8 Economic Community of West African Mission in Guinea-Bissau are now better equipped and informed with requisite skills of peace support operations to be able to take over from their counterparts in Guinea-Bissau who have been there for quite some time now. Physical and field trainings which covered areas such as intensive physical training, exercises, occupation of basic camp, crowd dispersal, tactical convoy movement, escort of VIPs, weapon handling were also undertaken. Commandant of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, Jaji, Major General Kelvin Alibe, who represented the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukurisu Buratai, charged the troops to exhibit high sense of dexterity and discipline while discharging their duty.
I must also remind you that the rules of engagement in the mission gives you the latitude to exhibit utmost professionalism in the discharge of your responsibilities.
This is the 8th batch of Nigerian company deployed for ECOWAS mission in Guinea-Bissau. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachku, NTA News.
And on health, Kaduna State Government is set to tackle maternal, newborn and child-related health cases with introduction of free biannual healthcare services for them. Muhammad Umar Rajingi tells us more.
35-year Habiba Mori is a mother of 5. She gave birth to all of them at home. Habiba says she stopped going to the hospital for antenatal care because she could not afford the cost of checkups and other medical services.
The challenge is that the drugs we are buying in the hospital are expensive, but before, we used to get it for free.
Habiba, like many mothers in Kaduna State, welcomes with pleasant surprise the news of the 1-week free medical services by the state government, which was flagged off by the Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabe at Kachia. The Maternal, Newborn and Child Health Week will be observed biannually to provide integrated health package to children under the age of 5 and pregnant mothers in all public health facilities across the state.
In Kaduna State, we're implementing in about 963 primary healthcare facilities, and there are some private facilities that have indicated they will also want to join as part of their corporate social responsibility.
The package for the week includes birth registration, immunization and family planning. From Kachia, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And that's our beat from here. It's back to Lydia in Abuja for the rest of Nationwide. Good evening.
Many thanks, Zile. Excuse me. Nigeria has restated commitment on peace, security and development, particularly as it affects Sahel region of the ECOWAS. Nigeria's permanent representative to the ECOWAS Commission, Ambassador Sani Musa Nuhu, said this while presenting letter of credence to the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, explaining that Nigeria is worried over the resurgence of attacks in Burkina Faso and Niger Republic. Resurgence of attacks in Burkina Faso.
Committed President Buhari is on the issue of regional integration, more especially on the issue of peace and security, which is a challenge in the sub-region. We have seen what is happening now in the Sahel region, specifically in Burkina Faso, Mali, and the Republic of Niger. We are going to play a greater role on collaborating with them to make sure that we are also a key player. In fact, Nigeria has been a key player and will continue to consolidate that to make sure that we become, we engage our neighbors more.
Nigeria also assured to continue pursuing regional integration in the region for economic development of the people. Next is sports update with Tamara Ebiwe.
The Athletics Federation of Nigeria is set to kickstart its 2020 calendar